So here's our Thursday candy challenge. It says, would a marshmallow be weighed in ounces or pounds? Well, we know that ounces is about one piece of bread. 1 ounce is about a piece of bread, and a pound is about a loaf of bread. So marshmallows are really light, so we would want to measure them with ounces. And if they put the abbreviation, that's great. That would be an awesome way to transfer their knowledge of ounces and pounds. Would a log be weighed in ounces or pounds? Typically, logs tend to be pretty heavy, so we would want to say pounds. And again, if they use the abbreviation LB, that would be awesome too. Identify the fraction represented by the shaded portion. Now, what's shaded in matters. I like to start with that one and say, okay, there's 1. And if they want to number them, as they count the pieces, they'll know where they started. So since there are 6 pieces in the whole thing, I like to say 6 is really heavy. It's all the pieces, so they fall to the bottom. So out of those 6, how many are shaded in? 1. So our fraction would be 1/6. The next one, instead of using the little alligator greater than, less than signs in the equal symbol, we're using the words. So 658 is greater than 784. Remember, start by comparing the largest position of each number. There's a 6 in the hundreds and a 7 in the hundreds. Well, a 7 is bigger, so this one should be greater, which means the first one should be less. And that is not what it says. So this one is less than that one, so that would not work. Again, for this one, there's a hundreds place and a hundreds place. There's a 7 here and a 7 here. They're the same, so we go to the tens place. There's a 1 here. There's a 0 here. Well, 1 is the bigger number, so this one should be greater, but it says less, so it is incorrect. When we look at the next one, there's a 6 in the hundreds, a 6 in the hundreds. Since they're the same, let's look at the next. There's a 7 in the tens and a 3 in the tens. Since a 7 is in the tens of this one, that is bigger than the 3, so this number should be greater than that number. So C is correct. 811 is equal to 818. Well, hopefully when you read those, you can see they are different numbers, which means they are not equal. But if you wanted to compare them, the 8 in the hundreds, they match. So we go to the tens place. There's a 1 and there's a 1, they match. So let's go to the ones place. There's a 1 in the ones place and an 8 in the ones place. This one is less than the other one, so equal would not work. When we compare this one, there's a 9 in the hundreds and a 9 in the hundreds. They're the same, so look at the tens place. We have a 0 in the tens, and we have a 4 in the tens, and 0 is less than 4, so this number should be less than this one, which is what it says, so E would be true also. The next one, I really encourage you to draw out these coins. Terry has 8 quarters and 5 dimes. Does she have more or less money than Paxton, who has $2? So when we add up Terry's 8 quarters, remember you can use 25 cents. You can use the letter Q, whatever you want to label your coins. I like to put them in sets. So I know that 4 quarters makes $1. So there's my $1. But we need to do 8 of them. Oops. So there's all 8. So now I'm already at $2, which is what Paxton has, and I'm not even done. 5 dimes. You can remember you can label it with 10 cent or a D, whatever works for you or your child. If they talk about hairy money, every hair is worth 5. So quarters would get 5 hairs, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Dimes would get 2, 5, 10. And if they go to count them, they would go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So we know that Terry actually has $2.50, which is more than Paxton. So the answer would be more. For the next one, it says use the symbols to compare the fractions below. Now, this did not say shaded or not, but we kind of assumed that it would be shaded. So I'm going to mark it for if it was shaded. So when I notice both pieces have been split into fourths, I would encourage your child to share what the fraction is to show knowledge of it. So out of these, there are 4 pieces. 2 out of 4 have been colored in. Out of this shape, there are 4 pieces. 3 out of 4 have been shaded in. So if you look at the dark pieces, there are more pieces on this side. So we would use this symbol because he wants to eat this one. He could care less about the first one. So we would read it as 2/4 is less than 3/4. Now, if you were doing the non-shaded pieces, the sign would flip because this would be more than this piece. But like I said, we usually err on the side of what's shaded in. Now for a clock, we know that the hour hand is shorter. If your child wants to label the hour hand and the minute hand to help them keep track of it, that's a really good idea. The hour hand can get tricky as we get closer to the new hour, but we always start at 12 and we count by 5s. So if we count our minutes, we go 5, 10, 15 minutes, and we always put the minutes at the end of the digital time. And if you look at the hour hand, it is between the 7 and the 8. I like to say it's already past the 7 and it's on its way to 8. So you always go with what it's already touched. So the time would be 7:15. Again, I would draw the coins so that you can show mastery of it. So Sarah has 7 quarters, 4 dimes, 5 nickels, and 1 penny. How much money does she have? Well, I'm going to draw my quarters. I need 7 of them. And if you're using your own money, that is fine too. Actual coins. All right. She has 4 dimes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 nickels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 penny. Again, I'm going to use hairy money just to show how they might count it if they were confused. Every hair is worth 5, so quarters each get 5. It can get really hairy, if you know what I mean, with all this hair on these quarters. So I'm going to give all my quarters hairs. My dimes get 2 hairs because they're worth 10 cents each. 5, 10, 5, 10. My nickels get 1 hair each because each hair is worth 5, and pennies are bald because they're worth 1. So if your child wanted to count all the hairs, they can start wherever. It'll all work. I like to say start with the highest valued coins. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $1. Whenever I get to $1, I encourage kids to put them into a group so they don't have to accidentally count them again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, $1. Oh, I might do this to make my next one. Then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and one more makes 41. So I have $2.41. Now another big push is if you use the dollar sign in the front, make sure his best friend, the decimal, is there to separate the dollars and the cents. If you use only the cent symbol, make sure you only use it at the back. He is by himself. Another idea is if kids know that 2 quarters makes 50, start right there. 25, 50. 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. Another idea might be, hey, we just need a quarter left right here. Let's take 10, 25. Let's take these coins and make them 25 cents so we can make another $1. So find out what works with your kid and maybe what works with you, and you might teach them a new thing or two about how to combine money and count money. Use the symbols to compare the fractions. Again, we did not say shaded or not. I'm going to go with what is shaded because that's typically what we're talking about. And we have 3 out of 6 and we have 2 out of 4. Now, we do not talk about comparing fractions with different denominators. The whole idea of this is just to look at what is filled in and to compare the pieces that are filled in. So this circle and this circle are the same size, but when you look at what's been colored in, it's about half of this side and it's about half of this side. The pieces are the same size, so both pieces would be equal. You do not have to stress how 3/6 is the same as 2/4 and it reduces to 1/2. That would be an enrichment thing you can do with them, but just so they can look at the pieces and see that the amount shaded in is the same as the other side. So I hope you did well this week. Great job on finishing up candy challenges. Proud of you.